go, or should I say, we are back. We are back. The Stronger Together podcast is back here in Orlando. It's not like we left. We just have been taking a pause for a day. We were here on Sunday going live. It's been really exciting. Had an opportunity to meet so many amazing folks. Had a couple booth book signings with our team. Got to podcast with my co-host, Nick. How are you today, Nick?
I'm doing great. I really needed that day off yesterday to attend all of those amazing sessions.
Yes, were you able to get them in? I know you, every day we had this podcast, you're like, I want to do that and I want to do that. Any luck getting to any?
Despite my best efforts to figure out instant cloning, I could not attend all of them.
Okay.
But I did make sure I attended the ones that were not recorded so that I could go back and watch the recording. So that's my little tip for you. Go to the ones that are not recorded, and then that way you can watch the recordings as part of your registration. So that's something I'll be able to do, is now get to do more learning with this ASCD on my own time when I get home.
Well, that is a good tip. And speaking of learning, I want to bring in our guest who is always about learning. Jerri Kemble. Welcome to the Stronger Together podcast.
Hello. I am so glad to be here today and so glad to be at ISTE. And learning is the deal.
It is the deal. So for those who don't know you, one, where do they live? Under rock? But if they do, tell everyone who you are, what you do, because you are everywhere glowing up and showing what life and education can be.
Yes. So, I'm one of those people that just kind of reinvents themselves. For the first part of my life, my first couple of acts, I was in education for 38 years, and now I'm a recovering superintendent, and I've recovered quite well. And now I just kind of call myself the badass firefly because I wrote a book about that. And it's basically pretty much about women in leadership and how you can make tough decisions, have hard conversations, but you can do it with grace and dignity and be like a firefly. And the firefly piece I love the best because women that are lighting up other women, lighting up the way for others, and it's not just women, it's men as well. Those people, when they walk in the room, they light it up and they help others to move forward. So that's kind of what I've been up to lately. And I also work for ClassLink, which I love. So I just got off of booth duty there.
All right. That's exciting.
Yes.
I love the speaking to female leadership because I think early in my career, I've got over 20 years in the classroom, and I did not see very many female administrators who are in leadership positions.
Right.
And it's something that, for me, growing up as a teacher, maybe I didn't notice right away.
Right.
But then you start to become clear when you start to go to conferences like these, and you start to see all these, and you go, I work with primarily all women, and yet, why don't I see these women in these leadership positions, right?
That's right.
In education, it's a huge disparity. So as a woman who's gone to this superintendent level, what did you notice, or how does that impact you as someone who maybe wanted to do that? How do you get to there when almost the system seems to say, no, you're good in the classroom?
Right. Yes. Well, I will say the thing that probably propelled me to keep going was great mentors. And women have a thing where we feel like we have to be given permission to do things. But they would tap me and say, Jerri, I think you'd be a great principal. Why don't you do that? And when someone told me that, then I believed in myself. Which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't see it in ourselves. But also, it takes a lot of courage. I would be at meetings, superintendent meetings in particular, and it was all men at the table, and I would be the only woman. And for the first part of it, I really had imposter syndrome. I thought, I shouldn't be here. I'm afraid to take up space. I tried to just kind of shrink. And then the more I listened to the conversations, I thought to myself, I know just as much about these topics and about kids and education as the other leaders do. And I feel that my background had counseling involved with it too.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay.
So I felt like I had things that I could give. So I just started saying, Jerri, you got to be brave. Just step out there and do it. And so I did.
Well, that's such great advice for everyone, right? In your education career. And I can say, at school AI, so being in ed tech now, like there is this perceived disparity of men and women too.
Yes,
in
absolutely.
these positions.
Same thing.
And I am so blessed. So this is a shout out to my managers, Lindsay, Karen, Sarah. I am so lucky to work with these badass women.
Yes.
You're talking about
Yes.
that are just dedicated and passionate. And I know like work twice as hard to dispel this narrative of, shrinking flower or things like that, right? Like, I'm so very lucky to be at a company that recognizes strong women in leadership and positions them in an opportunity. Places like our chief revenue officer, she's amazing. Like this is the thing that you don't see across the ed tech field because there is this belief that they don't have the opportunity to do it. And like you said, someone has to tap you. So listening to them talk about how they were mentored, it's exactly like I just peeked up because like it's literally what you said. It's, I think you can do that. And now for them to say to me, Nick, I think you can do that, makes me go, okay, if you think I can do it, like I can do it. And how powerful that is, whether it's in the classroom or in the ed tech space.
And it's such a good message for all of us to be looking out at those educators that we see, that we can notice and let them know how we notice their potential for leadership to move forward. Because education, we have had less people going into education. And so if we can, if we can tap people and say, I think we could do this, and how can I mentor you? And it can be so many different ways you can mentor someone. You can ask them to be on a project with you. You can talk about them in spaces where they are not and mention what they're doing and the genius work that they're doing. So I think it's so important that we take care of each other in the education.
Yeah, and I think it's so important. It's something I'm very thankful that our paths have crossed, and I've said this so many times in the last little over a year or so, is that what I'm striving for is to have people say things positive in rooms I'm not in. And you've done that so many times for me in the work that you do. I try to twofold that for you as well. So in this space, sometimes that doesn't happen. How can we encourage others to lift others up? What is some strategy that you work with? Not just to say it's a good thing, knowing and doing are two different things. So how do we do that? What are things that you do?
Right. The things that I do is I really try to notice. And I try to listen more than I talk and notice what people are doing. And I found even when I was a teacher, if I had a student that I couldn't relate to, I would say, I noticed you wore a Kansas City Chiefs jersey. And then all of a sudden my face lights up. It's just something about being noticed, right? So that's one of the things that I try to do is notice people, notice when they're doing good work, tell them about it, focus on the positive. That way you have some deposits in the bank. You never have to take a withdrawal and help them in another way. But I think that is really important. Noticing, listening, finding out about them, knowing their dreams and what they want to do.
It's so funny because we act like adults and children are different. And in most ways that they are, but like this, absolutely not. If we tell this to our teachers, right?
Yes.
See your students.
Yes.
Make connections. And yet all of a sudden when we get into the work world, right, the real world, do as I tell you and accomplish this, but who have I performed the best for? The people that see me, that listen to me. I had a manager at School AI, he started every single meeting the first 10 minutes. Hey, how you doing, man?
Yes.
That changes the whole dynamic of that conversation because it's the recognition of me as a human first.
Right.
And then, okay, let's talk about what you're working on and how does that connect. So we talk about making connections, being seen. That's what we talk about with our students.
Right.
Like that kid's gonna work harder if they know you have football practice after school or that, oh, it's your grandma's birthday next week because you're excited about it, right? I've had those kids go the extra mile because, hey, Mr. P sees me and that matters. And so I love that you take, which is a fairly simple strategy, right?
It is simple.
It's a human strategy, right?
Right.
Doesn't require any technology, doesn't require really any special skills. It's a, hey, how you doing? I see that you know, this is who you are, what you're excited about. Like, I just want you to know that I see it. And that's all it takes, like you said, to get people to buy in on a culture. And Matt, I'd love to hear from an administrative standpoint for your school, like how does that even like come in? Like whether you're trying to let people be seen when it's so busy day to day, how do you do that?
This might sound basic, but I calendar those times.
Wow.
And I think it's when I learned that when I was a principal. That my first 2 years as principal, I just was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to put out all the fires. I didn't delegate well. I thought I had to do it because I was in charge. And then I wasn't a great instructional leader because I wasn't doing those things. So I worked with my assistant and said nothing on the calendar before 10 o'clock. And then I would visit every grade level one day. So Monday, kindergarten, Tuesday, first grade. I'd mix it up. And I'd start my day, I calendar that in the beginning because that was time I needed to have happen. And now as a district leader, I do the same thing. I'll block off a half a day and go to school. And work with the principal. I'm very fortunate in my role that not only do I oversee the technology department, as I supervise 5 principals. So I get to be in the schools. I run professional development for many other schools. So, but as you know, I have to calendar this. It might sound basic or boring or like you can't figure this out on your own. No, because things fill up fast, meetings happen. But I have a certain color that if it's that color in the calendar, it's uninterrupted time.
Oh, okay.
I usually follow similar models. When I was principal, I do it first thing in the morning because then the day goes. So I usually start in school, getting to one.
Yeah, because getting out there, something always comes up, right?
Yes.
But I like the intentionality that you put into that.
Yeah, and I think
you're making it a priority.
Well, thank you. And speaking of intentionality, the work that you do is very intentional. I'm supporting, and I wanted to know how it has felt the last little over 6 months to be signing your book, to be giving it to others, to see them light up. We had 2 signings the last 2 days, and just to see people excited, want to take a picture with you. We don't talk about that enough. Where it's okay to feel pride in the work that you do.
Yes.
Like how's that been for you? Because before you start, because you are, I'll say, a more veteran educator.
Yes.
And sometimes people are like, oh, I'm past my prime. I can't do this now that I'm out of it. Like you broken that ceiling and have done it. So how does that feel to see that work come to life?
Well, I'll just give you a short little story. I was at the airport, and there were a table of women behind me, and they were laughing and giggling, and they said, would you come over and take a picture of us? And I said, oh, absolutely. So I took a picture. Come to find out, we knew a lot of people in common. And I said I'd written this book, and so I gave them a book. Well, they were flying to New York City. One of them wrote back and said, I read your book on the way to New York City. I cried 3 times. It touched my heart in so many ways. And actually, that's the payment I get for it.
That's amazing.
I love when someone sends, and I will say, I bet 3 days a week I get a note or something, a text, something that says, hey, Jerri, thank you so much for your book. It touched my life in a certain way, and that is the payment.
Wonderful.
It's just like getting those messages from students or parents, right?
Yes.
Those little letters. I put them in a folder called Those Days. So when you have those days, I can go ahead and read those letters, read those emails, and go, oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's my why.
Mine was Smile File.
Oh,
I like it.
We all have them, right?
Yes, we
talk
do.
long enough, you have that.
But it goes back again to what? Being noticed.
Yes.
Right?
Valued,
Yes.
for sure. So before we get you out, I want to ask one last question as you kind of continue to shine, to light the way for others. If you were to, somebody's watching this or listen, what is one way to start? Just to say, do this one thing tomorrow to take that next step, to lift somebody up. Like, what is a first step if they're
To
like,
lift
who
someone
am I?
else up?
Yes,
or
because
to lift
sometimes
yourself
people
up?
have lift someone else up because sometimes they have imposter syndrome. Like, who wants to listen to me? I'm just a first grade teacher. For
Yes.
those out there listening and watching to you, how can they become that badass firefighter when they feel like maybe they're not worthy yet?
Yeah. So one of the things I do quite often is I'll be thinking about a group of people, and I just say, I'm going to take a minute and text them and let them know what they've meant to me and how they have lifted me, and just send them a positive text. Within minutes, they're all texting back and so
amazing.
excited about it. And so, again, I didn't know that this was all going to come back to noticing.
Yeah.
But again, it does. It comes back to noticing. Try to send just little texts, emails, anything to let people
Wonderful.
know that you care about them. I think that's the best thing. And then as far as the imposter syndrome, I have learned that when you walk in a room, look at where the wall meets the ceiling, walk in with your head high, and know that you are meant to be there. There's a reason you're there. And take up your space, say what you need to say. But for me, it's always about saying it with grace and dignity. That's important to me. So just know that there's a reason you're there and be there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for spending
You
time.
bet.
It's been wonderful to see you
It
these
was
past
so
few days.
fun.
And keep up the amazing work and spreading that light for others.
Thank
And for
you.
all of you out there listening or watching, make sure to continue. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours, giving you the voices of ISTE. Amazing people coming up. Stay tuned. Nick, you going to stick around?
Absolutely going to stick around. You
Next
couldn't
week we're
drag
gonna
me
be
away.
here, everybody. So, Jerri, thank you so much.
Thank you.